Not quite a luxury car, not quite a peasant's ride. But for 2 glorious decades, the Passat B5 was everything to everyone. A taxi in the morning, a family limo on the weekend, a used car dealer's wet dream on weekdays. It was the vehicle of choice for dads, uncles, taxi drivers, and future tuners with a dream and a wrench. It didn't roar, it didn't flex, it didn't sparkle. But it worked, and it just kept going. Welcome to Nobody Drives in HistoryCar, a series dedicated to the stories of the most interesting cars we loved, drove, and sometimes even dreamed about. This is the story of the Volkswagen Passat B5, the unkillable hero of Eastern Europe. The year was a 1996. Nirvana had just left the charts. Windows 95 was king, and Volkswagen decided to turn up to the mid-size game with something entirely new. The B5 wasn't just another facelift, it was a revolution. For starters, it rode on the same platform as the Audi A4. That meant better suspension geometry, better handling, and a lot more perceived prestige. Essentially, VW gave the common man a shot at Audi-level refinement without requiring a second mortgage. The design? Sleek, conservative, no nonsense. It looked serious, it felt grown up, and it wore its purpose like a freshly ironed suit. In an era when cars were still boxy or too bubbly, the B5 struck the perfect middle ground. Volkswagen positioned the B5 as the thinking man's family car. Comfortable enough for long drives to the Baltic coast, tough enough to handle potholes in Bucharest, and classy enough to park outside a wedding without raising eyebrows. It was an instant hit. Now let's talk about what really mattered. What lived under the hood? The B5 offered a wide buffet of engines, from sleepy 1.6-liter petrols that struggled to pass shopping carts, to the mighty and completely unnecessary 4.0-liter W8 that could light up all 4 tires and your wallet at the same time. But the engine that defined the B5? The 1.9 TDI. A clattery, smoky, indestructible piece of engineering, particularly in its ALH and AFN versions. These engines were simple, tunable, and famously long-lived. You didn't measure their lifespan in kilometers, you measured it in owners. Fuel economy? Excellent. Parts availability? Everywhere. Power? Not much. But hey, torque moves mountains, and it definitely moved the B5. The 1.9 TDI made the Passat a car for life, and in some households, for generations. And then there was the W8, a fever dream of an engine that VW stuffed into the B5 because, why not? With all-wheel drive and 275 horsepower, it was a sleeper. But also a mechanic's recurring nightmare. Still, for those who dared, the W8 Passat remains one of the coolest, most confusing cars VW ever made. In Western Europe, the B5 was a nice family car. In Eastern Europe, it was a lifestyle. Go to any small town in Poland, Romania, Ukraine, or the Balkans, and you'll find a B5 doing something it probably wasn't built for. Towing bricks, running cross-country taxi service, acting as a hearse, or leading a wedding convoy with white ribbons on the mirrors. Why the cult status? Simple. It was reliable, comfortable, easy to repair, cheap to run, and it looked serious. It didn't scream for attention, but it got respect. And that's even better. Online communities today still share tips, restoration stories, and tuning builds. Some slam them to the ground, others lift them for winter survival. Some just want to keep them alive, one oil change at a time. The B5 was never just a car, it was part of the family. Now, let's not pretend the B5 was perfect. The front suspension was over-engineered to the point of tears. Replacing control arms required yoga-level flexibility. Rust. Oh yeah, the wheel arches were practically made of iron oxide. Window regulators failed like clockwork. The dashboard lights would go on and off depending on the moon phase. And if your heater core blew, you were in for a full weekend of dashboard removal and spiritual testing. But none of this really mattered. Because of the big stuff, the engine, the gearbox, the structure, that all held together. And for every problem, there was a forum post, a guy named Jarek with a garage and a welder ready to fix it. So what makes the Passat B5 a legend? It's not speed. It's not luxury. It's not even reliability in the strictest sense. It's resilience. It was the car that kept going when others gave up. It aged with dignity. It passed from father to son. It racked up 500,000 kilometers and still started every winter. The B5 proved that cars don't need to be flashy to be great. They just need to show up day after day and do the job. And today, you still see them on the road, in classifieds, in garages, being saved, restored, or simply kept alive for one more year. It didn't try to be a hero, but it became one anyway. The Volkswagen Passat B5 wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. It just needed to work, and work it did. Through snow, potholes, floods, weddings, funerals, and years of Monday mornings. If you ever owned one, or if you're still driving one, tell us your mileage in the comments. We might just build a digital monument to the diesel warriors among us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with the one uncle who still thinks his B5 is better than any EV. This is Nobody Drives, where the legends live longer than expected.